Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to North Reef City here on City Skylines. Today then, we are fixing traffic. As the title of the video suggests, we are finally solving the traffic problem, or trying to solve the traffic problem that has been plaguing North Reef for quite some time now, in fact, and just illogical amount of time. I have been fighting traffic in this game. And it got too much. Basically, I was trying to work out why people were queuing up to go to certain places. So we've got the city centre itself with the arena. That's pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, people are either trying to go to the city centre for shopping reasons, or they're trying to go to the arena for matches or whatever it might be. I need to put a concert venue in somewhere as well. I haven't actually decided where that's going yet. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But Reef Square here, which still needs renaming. I will get onto that at some point. It's about time that I actually did something about the traffic here. So I was looking to see what kind of traffic do we have. A lot of it is cars and commercial vehicles. Now, commercial vehicles we don't actually fix today, but we do start working on cars. One of the things I've noticed here is people are trying to get to and from work, to and from home, to and from the actual square itself for leisure reasons. One of the best ways to fix that problem is buses. Now, I did say last episode that I'm not going to be focusing too much on transport at this point of the series, and I'm kind of sticking with that, but I'm also going to slightly break the rule as well. So I've set up some bus lines. We have 3 bus lines so far. We've got the arena line, which goes directly from Reef Square to the arena itself. We've got the city line that goes between the arena, goes between Reef Square and the city centre, current city centre, via some stops along the way. And then we've got the reef line that just circles Reef Square. Those are the 3 lines that we've got. Right now, it's fine, but one of the problems we have, and you saw it at the start there, I will explain what's going on in a second. It's just, it takes me a few goes to get this right, so there's no point explaining it on the first one. I might as well wait till it's actually fixed and working. One of the problems with the buses is, I think we released something like 50 to 90 buses in a single go, and it just caused chaos. Like, the road there, you can see, is completely backed up. So not ideal, not the best way to start things off. The solution to that was a little bit cheaty. I kind of used Traffic Manager to remove all traffic. The good news is, what you see me doing here actually seems to be working to an extent. We are, in fact, achieving the impossible by solving our traffic problems. So this junction here then. This is one of the causes of traffic in Reef Square. This is effectively where the 2 main roads meet. You've got the north to south-ish one, and you've got the east to west-ish one. And they both are just traffic machines. Is that a right way of saying it? Probably is. So the main road into Reef Square, the traffic flow on that wasn't actually too bad. It's when you get to the junctions that the traffic started popping up. And a lot of it is to do with traffic trying to circulate around this residential area that we've got here. But you've also got cars coming in from Linden Hilltop, either wanting to turn here and head out of the city, head further into the city, or go into the residential area straight over. And that's what was causing all of our traffic. So we built this flyover dive under junction here. Again, ignore these 6-lane roads that I'm building. They don't end up being the ones that stay. But yeah, it's all about traffic control. That's what I was trying to go with this. So this new flyover dive under, the way it works is, if you're heading straight on into the city from the diverging diamond, you will use the dive under that I've built here. It does get changed in a second. Again, it's just one of those things. If you're heading from Reef Square to Linden Hilltop, you will use the flyover that will be built shortly. And then if you're turning left or right, you will use the flat junction at ground level. And that's been specifically designed so that left turns are always doable. Actually, are they? I don't know. Maybe I didn't do that. Effectively, though, it's been designed so that traffic flow is contained. That's the plan. And that's what, seems to have happened. I've left it running a little bit since recording, and it works. I don't think it doesn't work. I just don't think I've left it long enough to properly stress test it. But this is only phase 1 of the project. You'll see phase 2 coming up a little bit later. I'm also starting to encourage cycling through this part of the city as well with these bike lanes. Now, once you get to Reef Square here, you can actually cycle around the pathways that we've got here. Plus, most of these roads around this area, bear in mind this is the leisure district of the city right now. Some of this residential might even be moved in the future and replaced with commercial. I haven't fully decided on that yet, but for now at least, it is what it is. Oh man, I messed this up big time as well. I don't like the vanilla overpass at times. I don't like the fact you have to build the is it the A piece, the chevron piece there? You have to build it in a specific direction, otherwise it just doesn't work. I'm not a huge fan of that. I would prefer it if you could build it in either direction and then use the reverse tool, right click with the exclamation mark to make that work. It doesn't work that way though, sadly, I was about to say, unfortunately. But yeah, this actually does, as I said, fix the traffic problem. Oh man, yeah, node controller as well. Just you have to forgive me. I recorded this late one night, and just watching it back, it's just cringy. This does fix the traffic problem to an extent. The second part of the project, which is the second part of this video, funny enough, fixes the second part of the issue that we've been having. It's a temporary stopgap, though. I'll say that now because I might forget to say it later. But effectively, yeah, it's a temporary stopgap. It's not a permanent solution. Well, it's the beginnings of a permanent solution, but there is work still to be done, is what I should say. I do temporarily depower half of the city there as well by severing that wire. Believe me, that comes back to haunt me a little bit later on. But yeah, dive under and fly over. I chose these very carefully because if you're coming off the hill there, it makes more sense to go over the road than to go under it. I think it works quite well. Visually, I think it looks quite good as well. So much so that I used it as the thumbnail for this video. If you're wondering what that is what that is. And then, yes, cycling. So I want to get more people cycling. I think that's a good way to solve the traffic problem as well. It's kind of like, it's really easy in city skylines to encourage people to use cycling. You just build cycle roads and people come and use them. So that's simple. No problems there. But saying that, from a planning point of view, I didn't really do much of that as to how to get people to actually, I didn't plan many cycling roads, I should say. I'm really losing my train of thought here because I'm watching myself build this here over and over again and making the same mistakes. I think I was screaming into the void at that point when I did that little bit. There we go. Now I get it to work properly. And then we grab this and we move it like so. And then we build a lovely little curvy junction here. That was my notifications going off in my background there. Sorry if you heard that. So yeah, flyover. Here we go. So cycling. That's what I was actually talking about, not flyover. Cycling. So yeah, to get people to cycle is really, really easy. You just build some bike lanes and they will come and use them. Nice and simple. About as simple as it gets. Designing the infrastructure for continuous cycling is not something that I have done so far. Now, obviously, we have this main road here. Ignore this weird M shape. We do fix that. There we go. I do like using Move It for these little things here where you can actually get them to work. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm just watching this back and critiquing my own building. That's cool as well, I suppose. That little junction there we'll come back to in a second because that's kind of important for the way that this is going to work now. And then obviously, yeah, we use the Move It there as well. Although that's not very... There we go. Now it looks nicer. So yeah, Sims will start cycling around a lot more. That also helps with traffic. It's not just public transport. It's also giving them alternatives, suitable alternatives. So building things within walking distance, having cycle lanes, having a bus stop nearby, whatever it might be. There are always ways to go about it to encourage more people to use cycling and even just walking as an alternative to hopping in their car. This was a very lazily designed part of the city, I'll admit. This was literally just designed out of necessity above every... Not necessity. This was designed out of vanity above everything else. whereas it should have been designed out of necessity. That's what I was trying to say. Lesson learned on that one. Going into this now, it's kind of a build mistake fix process, which is something I said I wanted to avoid doing in this series, but I seem to be very good at it, so it keeps coming back at me. But now, fixing this without doing too much damage to the existing city, I'm actually a big fan of this solution. Again, I liked this part of the build here so much that I made it the thumbnail. And I think just visually watching traffic actually use this intersection, it's very, very satisfying to know that it works. My only massive annoyance is these vanilla overpass roads don't have... first of all, they don't connect there properly, which was just damn right annoying. I think I have to rebuild this road to make it work. There we go. I think I just, scorched earth, start again kind of thing. They don't have an underground view. There's no skin in the tunnels. What's the word I'm looking for? There's no view in the tunnels, basically. So you can't, if you ride first person in a vehicle, you'll have to bear in mind the fact that you will just see into the void whenever you're underground. Same with another type of road that you will see me... Oh, yeah, I messed this up big time as well. That was really annoying. Same with another type of road that you'll see me build later on in this episode, which, again, is kind of annoying. But I'm willing to put it down as a small price to pay because it does fix this overall problem that we've been having. So, overall, yeah, I would say not... Oops, just whacked my steering wheel. Not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, junction complete. We're just going to do the lane management and stuff in a second. The nodeless thing here as well is kind of annoying. There's probably a way around it, but I don't really want to mess around with that. I get why it's nodeless. It's so that you can have the underground or the overground, the dive under or the flyover bit without it clipping and looking awful. So, again, it's out of necessity. It's all fine. It's all good. Now, this part here, these junctions, I'll try to make it straight on only. So that you can only... Basically, what I'm trying to do is encourage people to either use this new junction to turn into that area, or to actually go down to Reef Square and use the roundabout. In real life, GPSs and stuff will probably be programmed to force people to use the roundabout. But in this game, they use whatever's the quickest route, which more often than not would be this new junction here. Problem with that is you've got this other set of traffic lights here so soon after the original junction. Even with the lane management now slightly improved, not perfect, but slightly improved, it's still not 100% brilliant. So the way around that is to maybe bump up speed limits and see if that would change it, like up the speed limit around the roundabout or lower the speed limit coming off of this junction. It's something I've toyed with. I think this main road here is 50 miles an hour, and then all the other dual carriageway sections here are only 30. And that, again, is to try and force traffic to actually use the right roads. Whether or not that's worked, though, I don't know. I just don't know. This bus network, then. So the Reef line is the green line, the City line is the red line, and the Arena line is the blue line. I wanted to have colour-coded buses as well, but I really like these ride transport buses. There's some really, really beautiful models there. And because of that, sadly, there's no colour coding, basically. The lane marking there I need to go back and do. I was meant to do it then, but I just wanted to check to make sure this was working. Eventually, it becomes a legacy thing here. There was just so much traffic. The only way to fix it was actually to clear it out and start again. Because I kept forcing buses to reroute themselves, and it got very messy very quickly. And even setting up, custom traffic lights and stuff, and priority signals, and it just was a bit naff. It wasn't really working properly. So the solution was just to reset the traffic and start again. So to avoid a future incident, shall we say, I decided to come up with this. This is something George and I have been talking about on Discord for a little while now. This is a bus rapid transit system. Now, this is kind of improvised, shall we say. You can see there That's the city line that has a bus stop there. And every time it stops there, it holds up traffic behind it. It doesn't have a dedicated bus stop lane like some of the other road pieces do. So there's a bus stopping. You can see the one behind it gets stuck, and then all the traffic behind that gets stuck too. It's not the nicest looking thing. I'll give it that. It's kind of annoying. Now, the reason I say this is temporary right now, this BRT system, is because, first of all, I'm not a huge fan of these road pieces. There's no 2-lane piece. I find one in the end, but it's not road only. It's got pedestrian paths running alongside it. And I don't want people walking along this, because this has, I think it's a speed limit of like 50 miles an hour, which for a bus is rapid, hence the name. I also don't like the placement of this stop here. This is meant to integrate with the light rail there, which will get finished at some point, I'm sure. In the next episodes, by the way, I want to start working on this side of the city centre and start mapping out. I don't think I'll be doing any zoning or anything, but I want to start mapping out road layouts and things like that, because I've got some ideas for like a central city park, you know, lots and lots of little quirky areas of the city, including starting to build some transport links as well. But to make that work, I need to start placing road layouts. So I will get on with that. This part here, with the bus lane running through the centre of the motorway here. Is it a motorway? It might not even end up being a motorway. This might end up being like an A road. Yeah, I did mean an A road. And actually have it be part of the city centre still. So change the road type and see where we are with that. But yeah, I don't like this BRT road. I don't think it looks the part. In all honesty, it looks a bit weird. So I might try and see if there are other ones that I can use. Likewise with the stations, actually. So the stations, I want to build in like a little plaza area for each one. These are going to be treated almost like metro stations. So I want them to look like metro stations and be a bit more nice looking than what they are now, which they kind of look like afterthought service stations at the side of a motorway kind of thing, which I'm not a huge fan of. But this is basically designed to get buses off of the roads. It's something that I see a lot more happening in the UK now. Whether it's dedicated bus lanes on existing roads, or whether it's brand new guided busways, or bus metro, I think is a term that's being thrown around at the moment as well. I think it's a better solution to the problem. And it encourages traffic flow a lot better. And I'm personally a fan of it. So I wanted to include that here. And this is how I'm doing it. So yeah, you can see how it connects up. Like I said, I'm not a fan of... I can't think of anywhere in the world that has a bus rapid transit that's 2 lanes in each direction. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I'm struggling to come up with some. If there are some, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'd love to do some research on them and find out more about them. I'm trying to think of like guided busways as well. There's one in, I want to say Australia somewhere, that's quite unique. It might actually be in New Zealand, but I'm pretty sure it's in Australia. There's the Cambridge guided busway, which those of you who know my thoughts on the East-West Rail project, you'll know what I think about that guided busway. Like I said, I think they're good solutions to problems, but that doesn't mean they're always good solutions to problems. There have been times where they were not the solution to the problem. These were the roads I was talking about, by the way, that don't have tunnel view. There's no tunnel skin. I still can't think of the word. Whatever it is, it hasn't got it. Let's put it that way. So yeah, if you go underground in these, you just see out into the void. Now the reason I say this is temporary is for what's about to happen here. I wanted to connect this up to the bus station at Reef Square. In truth, I didn't need to do this. I could have just... You can see here even, I'm toying with the idea of just connecting it up to the main road. I probably could have done this further down, closer to the square itself. But I tried to do it here. And I wasn't a huge fan of how it was looking. So, especially as it needs to come out and then switch to the middle lane to be able to use the junction properly. Unless it goes up through Linden Hilltop and back down again. And I don't know, it was a bit messy. One of the solutions was to move... You see I moved these here. I might just get rid of these. The industrial area, by the way, that's going to expand. That might fill up that entire space that we've got over there. That might even be where the light rail ends up running to. Ooh, that's not a bad idea, actually. We'll have to see about that. And yeah, I end up moving the bus to the other side of the road here, and then we build like a little hop over. And I think this does end up looking nicer. Again, I'm not a fan of the way that the roads run alongside each other right now. That will get changed. I'll find a way to tweak that and make that work, make it look nicer, all that good stuff. There's something else, really good point I was going to make here. I can't remember what it was, but to go back to what I was saying before, trying to integrate the BRT into the normal roads at this side was a bit tricky. Now, I could have just done it. Actually, I might even go back and change this. I could just do it as a flat junction with traffic light control. So main traffic will most likely just keep going straight ahead, and then other traffic will bus traffic will turn off and go on to not all bus traffic. Not all bus traffic will use the BRT. Just certain lines. Some buses will still use the conventional roads, just for simplicity's sake, really. But yeah, we end up connecting it into Reef Square. We had that weird thing there as well with the bus. I don't quite know why it did that. I don't know. But we do move. So the Reef line gets tweaked slightly. And then also the Arena line and the City line both switch to the BRT. Which itself... At the moment, I've got emergency vehicles using the BRT road as well. But I will change that because I don't like it. I don't like the fact that ambulances and police cars and fire engines are basically travelling along what is essentially a guided busway. That bothers the heck out of me. So I will change that. But yeah, this part. So here I realise I could actually redo these roads. So you'll see me go over here and actually do that. Make some changes. And it looks nicer, but it's got these pedestrian paths, which for some of it, in the city centre, for example, having a pedestrian path alongside it is not a bad thing at all. So I will keep that there. But I'm sure I saw some other BRT. In fact, didn't I use one in New Guard City? I used another BRT road, which I'm going to track down and use that instead, because I think that would be nicer. I think that would definitely be nicer. But yeah. This works. You know, that's the main thing. If it's stupid and it works, it's not stupid, as they say. And this definitely works, and it works really, really well. I have built some passing loops in places for emergency vehicles to get past. But like I said, I'm going to turn that off moving forward. So emergency vehicles won't use this road anymore. They'll use the normal roads. And then, yeah, just... trying to segregate traffic, you know, that's the bane of my existence. I can't even speak that anymore. It's just ridiculous. The bane of my existence right now is trying to get all this working. And you see here, I moved the police station to the other side of the road there, and I make a couple of other little tweaks. And then here, we actually connect up this guided busway, BRT, whatever you want to call it, underground. Through these underground tunnels, which do actually look quite nice once you get it working. So this bit here, for example, actually looks pretty decent. And then I use zoning and just the same road type there to connect it in. And at that point, I thought I was done. Then I remembered I hadn't done this side yet. And this was my solution to that problem. So this is a temporary stopgap. I will find a better way to connect this up. Just because this is a bus rapid transit system, doesn't mean it has to be the fastest way to cross the river, if that makes sense. I might find a more roundabout way for it to cross. But right now, this was a pretty good way of doing it. Up and over the light rail system there, and then down into this area, which was built for this. You know, the plan was always to have a bus rapid transit system going into this bus station. Quite like this, no, this wasn't part of the plan, but I'm actually very happy with how this looks, how this turned out. There is work to be done. It is a bit of an eyesore having this like concrete bridge with buses travelling across it right through the middle of what is meant to be a prettier part of the city, but this is a functional BRT route right now, and it's got two of our busiest lines on it. Now the Arena line I might actually switch to not use this road anymore. to not use the BRT, but to actually run on the conventional road. That probably would make sense. I kind of forced it to use, because I wanted to stress test this system. So you see how I've done it here. But I don't think I need it to. So I think I might go and actually cut that back. But the city line does actually work really, really well. There'll be multiple BRT routes across the city, by the way. This isn't going to be the only one. But as a starting point, I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. I think this has gone quite well. What I'm doing here is probably what I didn't need to do, but I'm just going through and redoing these routes. I found out it was easier to do it this way than to reroute the existing ones. I'm sure there is a way where you can grab individual lines and change stations and stuff like that, but when you're using the transport tool here and the bus line tool, you can only click on one line, which more often than not is the one you don't want to click on, which is incredibly frustrating. One other thing this highlighted, by the way, when I was actually doing this, was just how bad the junctions on this side of the river actually are. So to get from the city centre bus station to the arena, there's only one way of doing it, and to get back there's also only one way of doing it. And even though the arena line doesn't stop at the city centre bus station, it does still have to go there because that's the end of the BRT route. Now I did toy with the idea of having another BRT route diverge from this first one and run along the waterfront, and I might still end up doing that. But for simplicity's sake, again here, I elected just to use the existing BRT route. And again, that's one of the good things about this game, is if you change your mind in the future, you can make tweaks where necessary, and it doesn't require huge amounts of rebuilding, which I'd say is a good thing personally, but that's just me. So we're coming towards the end of the video now. I think this is a very productive episode in that we got quite a lot done for traffic management. You can see there's a big traffic queue here. This is because of the diverging diamond interchange, which I do also then go back and fix. So that's no longer the case either. There's no traffic at all. Obviously, there's still traffic moving, but huge queues are no longer a thing. We have occasional queues, but that's about it. We do have quite a few abandoned buildings springing up across the place right now. That is something else that I will be looking at fixing. I will also state at this point, I had the Formula E race on in the background while I was building this section. So if there's like a couple of pauses here and there, it's because something interesting was happening and I got myself distracted. But for the most part, this was a bad idea what I'm doing on screen right now. It was a really bad idea. I can't actually remember why I ended up doing it like this. I think it was something to do with turn lanes. It was something like that, which I'd forgotten about when I upgraded these roads. So I do go back. You can see there the bus basically like transports itself through the building, which it's not supposed to do. And I think it's because the turn lane wasn't working correctly. So I could have potentially fixed it, but elected not to. This is where I noticed there was a problem, because I'm like, why is that line not connected? And then realised it was to do with the turn lane. But yeah, it all works now. That's the main thing. It all works now. And it all seems to be fantastic, which I'm very, very happy about. And like I said, the traffic problem is pretty much fixed now, for the most part. The traffic will bump up again as we build more buildings and things like that. So I'm fully expecting more traffic, but I feel like I'm in a better place to handle it now. And transport, considering there's no transport really beyond these buses, we've got the ferry station, ferry terminal, whatever you want to call it, over at the arena, which isn't being used right now for anything. But once that gets up and running as well, that will handle traffic down most of the main waterways of the city. And we'll keep crossing bridges as we come to them, as it were. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series so far. Drop those comments down below with ideas for future episodes. It really does help me out. Likewise, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. That also helps me out. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. Like I said, next week's video will be starting to build the proper city centre, maybe with a railway station, transport, public squares, all that kind of thing. So stay tuned for that. And besides all that, thank you very much again for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.